Hello, my noble band of outlaws. Outlaw Samurai coming at you live with a video. Well, this. You saw my destructive test, and I want to just say thank you for the over 1,000 plus views that this got within 3 days. I never thought I'd ever have a video that got over 1,000 views in 3 days that wasn't a short. By any case, this is going to be a much more concise overall review of this knife now that I've had a chance to settle down and got all that whole dulling business out of my mind. Plus, my reasoning as to why this portion of the blade became as damaged as it is, or what I surmise to be the reason. Now, we saw this thing go through absolute hell, more than any kitchen knife should ever go through. And it held up, it cut bottles better than any sword blade I have by a great margin. It handled itself well with batoning, and when it came to chopping, it was doing well until I went completely obsessive with dulling it. Now, argumentatively, you'd never, like I said before, you'd never actually do the kind of testing I did with a kitchen knife. But then again, this is also me we're talking about, and I tend to do stupid shit on a whim just to usually do it. I'm a guy. We're all guilty of that sin. But in any case, in short, I do believe that this is a damn good knife that you should get for anyone looking for a well-built, sturdy blade that's going to provide them years of good, solid, reliable use. And in a pinch, if you had to, you could use this as a makeshift camp/bushcrafting knife. This would be a great knife to put in your camping gear for food processing and prep. Because we saw, while it didn't make the best in the world, it was capable of making feather sticks, and it can easily handle small wood. Now, granted, I wouldn't baton anything larger than maybe a 3-inch wide log, like a little 3-inch wide log with this knife. Definitely nothing thicker around than this roll of duct tape. But in a pinch, if you had to grab something to process some wood and it wasn't monstrously large, this will do it. Now, as I said before, I put this black duct tape handle on here mainly because the finish is actually very smooth. That's something I would like to address. That it may be a danger hazard if you're using this without some kind of extra grip and you're cutting meats or very watery vegetables like watermelons or squash, or hell, even cutting pumpkins to make homemade pumpkin bread and pie, which I also do. You think those pumpkins in my cutting videos go to waste? No. The ones I always buy 4 pumpkins every year. 2 to make the pumpkin videos, and 2 to make pumpkin gut to make pumpkin breads, muffins, and all that other shit. Alright? I'm basically fully equipped to either be a provider or a stay-at-home house husband. I'm the complete package. Cook, clean, sew, braid hair. I can do anything around the house that you need me to do. So, single ladies in the comment section, that your boy's looking. But in any case, enough with my shameless self-promotion to not end up dying alone. So, the reason why I believe that the edge deformed as it did is 2 reasons. One is I believe there may have been a soft spot in the blade's edge. And why do I think that? Well, because the base of the blade, here and here, while I did do a lot of chopping and cutting as well, held up, where this did not. Granted, this is where I mainly focused most of my cutting, because with a sword, you focus with the upper half of the blade as well. And yes, this is a Bigfoot sticker on my Warrior O. If I could, that would be my everyday carry. Well, I can, it's just everyone around me bitches when I do it. But in any case, there might have been a soft spot in the factory edge, and I believe that to be the case because of how the base of the blade and the tip of the blade survived, while this portion did not. Also, I had little to no tactile feeling in the knife. And what does that mean? Well, tactile feeling is how something feels in your hand. And while I was wearing, the gloves I was wearing were actually leather insulated winter gloves. And like I always say, it's bad when Outlaw has to wear gloves to handle a sword, and this is the reason why. Because traditionally speaking, the gloves you're meant to wear in combination with swords are actually very thin leather gloves that usually are sewn within gauntlets or mitten gauntlets, which are the ones that look like metal mittens. And those are actually very thin leather gloves, so you don't lose your tactile feeling when holding this. There is the leather in sword gloves that are specifically meant to be worn while handling a sword, is thinner than your standard work glove, even your standard gardening glove. Sword gloves are more attuned to football gloves and baseball gloves, the ones that you wear to catch the footballs and the ones that the batters wear when they're swinging the bat. Those would be our modern day equivalent to classic medieval sword gloves. You don't lose your tactile feeling with those. They're there simply to prevent you from to help you prevent blisters and to give you a better grip, a better purchase. The gloves I was wearing, I pretty much lost all tactile feeling except for the fact that I was holding the knife. So some of my strikes, upon rewatching the video, I would be striking like this, but the knife would be canted like this, or canted up like this. And while I am saying that that may also be a major contributing factor to how the edge got fucked up the way it did, I also think that there may have been a slight defect in this particular Blue Diamond steel simply because of the fact that the tip and the base of the blade survived, even though I was still hitting the tip and the base of the blade with those off-angle strikes. So, in final conclusion, what do I think of this knife? Well, if I had to give it a rating out of 1 to 10, it would be a solid 10. It gets a 9.5 for durability because of this blade. I'm deducting that half a point simply because of how this portion ended up. That may be my error, that may be blade error, we don't completely know. It definitely gets an 11 on terms of its cutting ability out of the box, because we saw with the bottles and everything else. And who would I recommend this knife for? I would recommend it for anyone who's an outdoorsman, to be honest with you. Someone who is going to be outdoors, camping, processing game, that needs a sturdy, well-built knife that won't dull easily. Also, for anyone at home that does their own butchering, like farmers or ranchers or homesteaders. Yes, homesteading is still a thing in today's modern world. They're just mainly called preppers now. But in any case, I would recommend this to them as well, simply because this would fit in a prepper's repertoire for a knife. Sturdy, well built, won't dull easily, and can keep up with all your standard kitchen tasks, and in a pinch can work as a makeshift camp and or field knife. But that's pretty much all I have to say on this, since I'm working on making my videos more concise and not so rambly. So in conclusion, my noble band of outlaws, I can actually highly recommend, if you're looking for a good, solid, sturdy, well-built knife, to get a Blue Diamond. Just don't do the shit I do, and your knife will last you years and years into the future. Quick little thing before I go, I am planning on reprofiling this knife. I may make it to where it's more like a Tonto style blade. I may not. I may just completely grind the edge down and put a thicker, more robust edge, at least as far down as I can get it. And that may also be the thing too. This had a ridiculously thin, sharp, slicey edge, which could also have led to its damage. Granted, I was doing shit you should never do with a kitchen knife, but again, I say this is me. But yeah, I will be reprofiling this, resharpening it, and I'll show you what that looks like afterwards. That's going to be an after the New Year's thing, because still technically holiday season. So I still have shit to do. So until next time, my noble band of outlaws, Outlaw Samurai tells all y'all, be crazy rednecks, be safe and use your weapons, and look forward to more Blue Diamond content, because you know there's going to be more, since I'm going to be reprofiling this thing, and I'm also going to be making another cutting video with it. Maybe doing some more destructive shit, maybe not. And yes, that was actually a Michael Rizzo impression. I know I'm not very good at it. Right? And if you notice how I'm holding the blade of this thing, is also very reminiscent of how Michael holds knives in his videos. I've gotten a lot of inspiration from him as of late in how I'm going to go about making my videos and testing shit in the new year. So, until next time, I'm out. Peace.